So here we are. Mercifully, the referee blew the final whistle without any extra time, which probably there should have been because there was all the subs were made and lots of time treating a Trevoh Chalobah who had to get stretchered off at Stamford Bridge. And this game is in... I didn't think we were going to win this tie. And I'm not even, angry about this game in isolation. It's symptomatic of the problem at Chelsea and a desperate need for change. We're going to get into that today. I'm going to try and, as calmly as possible, I'm going to speak to you guys not as a Chelsea content creator that I enjoy doing. I enjoy making content on YouTube. Having a bit of fun, joking around, bringing the news and reflecting on news stories, like I have done for the last 7 years. Doing match reactions. It's my job. It is my job. It's tough sometimes. Right now, a lot of time it is tough. It's not what I often say to people. I've had more jobs than not dinners. I've done studies and all kinds of stuff. I've got a music degree. I had a music company. I've done all sorts of stuff. And, worked pubs, cafes, delivered pizzas, done all kinds of building trades, deep dug trenches in the rain. I've done sales jobs. But being a content creator for a football club and for Chelsea right now, the weight is worse than a lot of those jobs. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I miss just going to work with my mates, doing a bit of graft and having to moan, but sometimes I genuinely just feel the weight of what this football club does to me as a fan and as a content creator. But I can't talk to you as a content creator today. I have to just talk as a Chelsea fan. I feel pretty broken, man. Genuinely. Because I didn't think at all, and this is symptomatic of how screwed up stuff is at Chelsea. I know people talk about remontadas and comebacks, and PSG have suffered massive comebacks before in the Champions League, but I didn't think for a second we were gonna win this tie. I may have said on here, I certainly said on my social media, on my Instagram, and in WhatsApp groups to my friends that what will happen is we'll probably come out the blocks, look all excited. Genuinely said this, and I said Kvaratskhelia will start this game and he'll score in the 6th or 7th minute and it will kill the mood. And he scored in the 6th minute. And he scored in the 6th minute, and then Buckler scores again. The defending for both goals were terrible. The Buckler goals, of course, an amazing finish, top bins, but he's afforded all the time and space in the world to do it. Some young lad comes on later, scores the third. Could be more. It's the joint worst defeat we've ever had in the Champions League. I thought it was going to be the worst because of the time, but everyone knew the game was done. Rosinia took off all his most important players. Luis Enrique took off Buckler, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, João Neves, Nuno Mendes. Both teams were taking off important players, thinking of the next game. Everyone knew it was done. There was apparently a really good atmosphere in the bridge before and that kickoff, killed by what happened on the pitch. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about the game, but it's about more, isn't it? It's about the players, it's about the managers, it's about the sporting directors, it's about the owners. And we'll have to, I guess we'll go bit by bit. The game's the game. We got effed up. We got slapped up by a PSG team that are finding their mojo. I haven't prepared it. There you go. Look, here's the lineup. We actually started with a back three, even though we ended with a back four. Look, they've given a perfect 10 to the PSG goalkeeper, but it doesn't tell the story. We got absolutely handled by them. We both created about the same amount of XG and 2 big chances, and we had 18 shots to their 8. But doesn't mean anything. The shots were tame, and it was symptomatic of the quality of the finishes PSG have and the quality of the finish Chelsea have. Delap and Garnacho, Pedro Neto, and even like out of form Palmer and maybe slipping form Joao Pedro just shooting. Enzo Fernandez just shoot. It's not like when Kvaratskhelia shoots. It's not like when Ousmane Dembele shoots. It's not like when Bradley Barcola or Desiré Doué shoots. Even their midfielders like Vitinha, sensational players, a properly built team that, by the way, is also very young in PSG, but it's perfectly balanced by, current Ballon d'Or holder, 28-year-old Ousmane Dembele, 31-year-old Marquinhos in the back line. And you could say we've got some players that are a bit older, but you have to look at the experience and pedigree of the players coming in. I think Hakimi's not the oldest player in the world, is he? Achraf Hakimi. I'm just going to quickly check, because Achraf Hakimi, he's 27 now, but he's recently turned 27. But these are players that play for Dortmund, PSG, now for Real Madrid, Inter. We don't have players like this was. So let's talk about the players, the manager, the sporting directors, and the owners, because we got slapped. It's not really about the game, is it? Like it really isn't now. It would be remiss of me to just try and analyze this game. In the first leg in Paris, I thought we were going to win when his man was being protected and he got substituted. I thought we were going to win that game, and we fell apart. We imploded. And he changed to a back three for this. I will talk about Rosinia in a moment. So we started with a back three. Sanchez comes back into goal. Mamadou Sarr, a 20-year-old player making his Champions League debut. Joel Hato, a player that we don't like to see at centre-back, who had a horrible game at centre-back at Karabag. And we get more excited to see him as a left-back. Kukurea fine, Trev Chalobah fine, but like the balance is all messed up. You see the rest of these players here, and of course it's a very, very strong elite PSG team. And by the way, their goalkeeper who won player of the match and got a perfect 10 because he made loads of saves. It's weird because he's actually culpable to a howler as well, So other than that in the game, obviously the biggest story for me isn't that we got absolutely slapped. We took off all our good players because we knew the tie was over, and it was an absolute biblical embarrassment for me. I feel really bad for Trevo. I love Trevo. I've been really consistent. I don't necessarily see him as a Premier League winning starting centre-back, but I want him at Chelsea, and I think he's a really great professional and Chelsea player that loves the club. He got stretched off, man. He's been a good servant for us this season. To Thomas Tuchel, penny for his thoughts, by the way. I think he was watching on at Stamford Bridge. He's already called up Trevo, his former player, to the England squad. You think not only is he going to miss the rest of the season if it's as bad as it looks for Chelsea, he's not going to the World Cup, which he probably would have hoped for, which is heartbreaking for Trevo, for Chalobah. So as a whole, the players, I feel bad for them. Because again, I don't think either of our goalkeepers are good enough. Kukurea can be really good. Reece James, of course, has redone his hamstring injury. Maybe Hato would be a good... Hato probably is an exciting deputy to Kukurea at left back. I love the style of Fofana, but he's been playing trash and rightly didn't start this game. Tosin's not good enough. Badiashiel's not good enough. But these players Mamadou Sarr, it's his dad. I feel bad. I just feel quite bad for them. Like looking at Pedro looking really annoyed. Fernandez, Palmer trying stuff, but it's not fit for purpose. And I don't want. I'm not going to dig out these players that they didn't deliver on the night. They're not good enough. It's not about that. So then let's move up to the manager and talk about Liam Rosinia now. Now he played a back three system. I actually think he set up the right way in Paris. And probably chose the wrong goalkeeper in hindsight because he threw one and it ruined the whole tie and probably affected the complexion of this game as well. But Rob Sanchez was looking shaky leading up to it, and Jorgensen had a good game at Villa. So the manager made a decision. Now, the manager, I've been very, very firm on I really like Liam as a man. Like I like his like politics, I like how he speaks, some of the stuff he's done as a player. I was sort of rooting for him to be a Chelsea success, and when he came in, it looked like actually he's going to do some stuff to liberate the players. A lot of people in the social media comments have been like, sacking Maresca was a mistake. We didn't really sack Maresca. Maresca sacked himself. He had 1 win in 8 Premier League games. He was pushing for the Man City job. He changed agency. He never really loved Chelsea. And funnily enough, I think the Chelsea fans, the match-going fans, have sung Liam's name maybe, say, 5 or 6 times early in the season. Throughout the entirety of Maresca's tenure, the Chelsea fans sang his name twice. He never really cared about Chelsea. He just, well, wow, what a Chelsea, what a great job, stepping stone. And it was, and we were in poor form. And, I have on authority that certain players were quite happy Maresca left. So it's not about revisionism, like, we should have kept Maresca because it wasn't going to work anymore. And it's fine. I'm not saying Liam's good enough. It might be too big for him. But in the same way, I have sympathy for these players that are just simply dysfunctional, too young, not enough maturity and experience, and therefore collectively not fit for purpose. I have a degree of sympathy with them. And in the same way, I have a degree of sympathy with Rosenia. He's been thrown into this job. He's had a game every 3 days. He obviously made an incorrect decision here with the system, but he's beat PSG with a weaker team in Strasbourg with this system, with Mamadou Sarr, the player that he selected who had a howler here, So he made a decision that he thought, this is the way to go, and he made a decision away in the Emirates, of course, when he did that defensive setup, and we nearly looked like we were going to get something before Havertz did that late breakaway goal when we were kitchen sinking it. He's also working with what is given. When he is, no matter what you say, he's of course towing the line like a company man, because A, he is a company man, and B, he's thanking his lucky stars he's got this Chelsea job. Now, he is a very talented coach. Everyone who's come up, worked with him professionally within football, Wayne Rooney, and say what you want about Wayne Rooney's managerial career. Wayne Rooney's been around football at high level for a long time. He says he's an exceptional coach. But he might be given an impossible job. Maybe he doesn't have the character for it. And maybe he just, the parameters he's working with, whether it's the sporting directors or indeed the team that's given to him, or just the fact how he's had no pre-season or no time on the training ground, he's made it very difficult. Now, I'm not saying Liam Rosenia is the man for Chelsea definitively. I don't know. But in the same way, I have sympathy for this dysfunctional squad of youngsters have put together. I have sympathy with Liam Rosenia, who doesn't help himself with some of the stuff he says in the parameters he's working with, which brings us to our probably true antagonists. Now, I want to talk about the sporting directors and then the ownership. So many of you have been aware the Not a Project social media group who organised the Chelsea protests. And by the way, every time there is a Chelsea protest, I advertise it. I notify you here on the channel if you're a match goer and if you want to attend, because I've always been very pro-protest. It's important that if you feel a certain way, you should voice it, because as soon as you don't and become a powerless pawn, then football loses soul and heart. So they seem quite eloquent in the way they deliver their message. And they met, you may have seen this, Danny Finkelstein, who is a Chelsea. He's not just some he's not one of these, money hungry Americans in the consortium. He's a lifelong Chelsea fan that's on the board of directors at Chelsea. He's been brought in, and he spoke to these people. Matisse, a friend of mine, he also explained how he met him, and apparently seemed like a nice guy, but didn't convince Amar that that they were doing the right thing. In the same way, the Not a Project spoke to him, and he said, "Look, we're building the best effing team in the world. It's pretty obvious in this, that, and the other." I'd love to sit down with that man now. Zoom call me, yeah. I'm not coming uptown anytime soon, Danny. Especially don't want to waste train money on what you put me through. If you watch this, feel free, get in touch, mate. Come talk to me, man. the co-sporting directors, right? Now, I haven't met Paul Winstanley or Lawrence Stewart. I haven't heard great things about Winstanley, I must say. And again, I'm not going to talk about who I've heard this from or whatever. But I haven't heard great things about him. But there is, even from an outsider's perspective, like a perception, there is an air of arrogance. I'm always talking about how they've sanitized the Chelsea DNA too much. Even if there are some good ideas in there and some, disruptive stuff that could put Chelsea ahead in certain aspects of the club, that they've sanitized it too much. And tonight is a big... tonight's performance result, sort of acceptance of it, is just such a demonstration of that. Because this is not something Chelsea does. Generally, this is what this young bunch of kids have been thrown together, and they're constantly rotated, and the manager's been thrown in the middle of the season, and you're coming up against, let's be fair, absolute superstars in PSG. And I haven't checked, but I think Man City also, lost out tonight to Real Madrid. I think Arsenal were always going to be, they've lost 5-1 on aggregate. What did we lose on aggregate? It was 8-2. So yes. Slightly better for them. I'd argue PSG's better than Real Madrid, though. Not that I'm trying to defend this. So yes, I need to reel this back in. The sporting directors, there's an air of arrogance. They need to, if their remit is truly to make Chelsea a winning outfit. Which, as much as we would like to say they're these evil demons that are just going to sell players and they don't give a so-and-so if we win or not, the model is dependent on Chelsea being a capable winning football team. Yeah. And I want to speak about the owners now, because I've been quite mindful about how I negotiate or navigate this topic. And I'll tell you why, because I'm very interested in football, yeah. Obviously a massive Chelsea fan, but I'm interested in football as a whole and the geopolitics of football. And look, I've got no people singing Roman Abramovich's name, because I actually think it's not necessarily come back Roman, because he's not coming back, but it's like a defiant chant to sort of demonstrate what we are, what we have been, and what we should be. I mean, I don't want to speak for fans that sing his name, but that's kind of the vibe I get, right? Roman's not coming back, yeah. The club was up for sale. Now, there was a few candidates that were trying to buy Chelsea. I'm going over old ground here. And I, like many people, you want to talk about, for example, certain social media accounts that are advertising more Chelsea protests. They're using images from the No to Ricketts protest, which, of course, was a protest in when Chelsea was being sold, that we didn't want the Ricketts family, and everyone joined, of all inclinations. They didn't want the Ricketts family to buy Chelsea. There was Steve Pagliuca, never really seemed very serious. There was a Saudi media group thing that wasn't really well funded and appropriately. And then there's what we knew at the time as Todd Bowley's consortium. No one was really talking about Clearlake. This is way before Badadig Barley swinging his so-and-so around with his sporting directors flanked either side of him. This was Todd Bowley. Now, what did we know about Todd Bowley? Well, he tried to buy Chelsea before. He tried to buy Chelsea back in 2018, and Roman did consider it for a little bit, but then decided not to. But he'd already expressed an interest, Todd, to buy Chelsea 5 years for 4 years prior, however long it was prior to actually buying it with his consortium. The opportunity came up again, and he presented the best case to Rainbank, which was the group that sold Chelsea. Now, at the time, it was the overwhelming fan favourite, Todd Bowley. And why was that? Well, because he tried to buy us before, he had an interest, and he runs really successful, granted, American sports franchises, but dominant teams. Like the Dodgers are like the, Man City when they were just tearing apart the league every season. That's what he has in baseball, part of the Lakers. His teams have superstars and win. And actually, when he took over and was, shaking hands and kissing babies at Stamford Bridge, he he wanted to buy superstars. It was not until Clear Lake started muscling in more and more and the sporting directors came in that the plan changed. And as I understand it, like, Todd did accept how the new system of finding this young talent is probably smart. And again, American sports, they do all the time, don't they? They like with like college sports. But he still wanted to buy superstars. Remember, he met with George Mendes very early. He wanted to buy Cristiano Ronaldo. He bought Tuchel, seasoned stars like Koulibaly, Aubameyang, and he inherited Lukaku. But Sterling, we gave Sterling what, you want 320k a week? Well, you want loads of Premier League. It was all incorrect decisions, which kind of make them feel more vindicated about your Cole Palmers and your Estevals. But there still needs to be a middle ground. So if you want to talk about Blue Co out, my position is, if they went today, I would not cry for them, and part of me would be very excited that something else will happen than what we're seeing now. But because I'm wary of alternatives, like, I don't want Chelsea Football Club to be a sports washing vessel. I don't. As much as you want to say, like, there's all this stuff about Abramovich bought Chelsea to be like, there was loads of conspiracy stuff about he actually bought Chelsea as like a safety mechanism so Putin wouldn't be able to get to him like other oligarchs he did and stuff like that. But yeah, Abramovich learned to love Chelsea, but they just want to win. Basically, that's not up for dispute. I don't want my football club to be a vessel for soft power. Now, you might think, well, these billionaire consortiums, there's nothing romantic about that at all. No, it's not. You're right. But I think also the important thing is, and to quote Liam Twomey on the Straight Out of Cobham podcast after talking about the disappointing Newcastle loss, because understandably fans are always saying sporting directors out, owners out. And he says, look, we are, because they're so well informed, the Athletic guys, and I really like them, him and Simon Johnson and Keris Jones, and all the is he Jones? Or Keris, the newer journalist. They're good. And as much as Matt Law grinds my gears sometimes, he's a good journalist, he's well informed. The owners aren't going anywhere. The amount of times for years Arsenal fans wanted the Cronkies out. Obviously, they've started playing well again, so this guy's gone down a little bit. The Glazers at Man United, never-ending story. FSG at Liverpool, all of this when they were like doing poorly for a while. They just don't go. These American owners, Cronkies, Glazers, FSG, they come in, you can protest all you want, they don't go, but what they need to change, man. Now, like I said, I wouldn't cry for them, but I'll just be worried for Chelsea about what happens next, because what if it gets worse as well? What if you keep changing owners, and the more space away you get from Roman Abramovich with new owners, the further away you get from that mystique, history, and expectation and right to win. You just don't know what's going to happen. It could be genuine asset stripping, not buying players and, just putting ticket prices up and not really caring and accepting and finding a way to, the model that doesn't rely on you being in the Champions League and just maybe staying in the Premier League, and you become like an Everton or something. Like I genuinely worry for Chelsea. So when I'm trying to be cerebral about it. Todd Bowley watched this tonight as the chairman in the, lest we forget, even though he's not seen with Igbali really anymore, apparently because there's still the rift in the ownership, it's always Igbali and the sporting directors, and they seem to be the new targets, for the Chelsea fans. And Bowley is not really getting the heat anymore. Genuinely, because there was always this more likely thing that rather than Blue Co leave, that one side would buy the other out. Now, of course, Clear Lake owns 60%. They're the financial muscle, but Todd was basically briefing, I can get money. I'll just basically get more investors. I'll find money, we'll buy you out, and I'll sort of take over Chelsea again. I think that's more likely than just the whole gang leaving just for some reason. Do you know what I mean? But if Todd Bowley could say to Clear Lake, who represent funds for loads of investors, yeah, you can make your money back here, It's been a rough ride. It's not going the way you want it. You can make your money back and a little bit more, because I still believe Chelsea can be, in 10 years, Chelsea will inherently be worth a lot more money. But I think it's unlikely. I've just got to be honest to you. I don't want to become this guy who just sits here and just says blue come out every video, because I want to talk about my club, my football club. I do want to speak about results and Cole Palmer finding form again, and Esteva Willian giving more chances to score and develop, and João Pedro maybe continuing to find form under Rosinha or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Or like maybe Penders does come in and he's really great. Giovanni Kenda from Sporting, you know, maybe he joins and lights up. Maybe we do sign an elite, more senior left winger, and I want to keep talking about Chelsea, and I will go back to content creator Jan, but I need to like say this. Do you know what I mean? And I think everyone, like my subscribers, deserve to hear it from me as well. Just like I just need to be authentic. But even if they're not going to probably go, if we are to believe, then they need to change something, because they can't see that and be like, yeah, this is fine. They can't look at that and say this is fine. That's embarrassing for them. It's embarrassing for everyone involved. The players, the manager, us fans who have to deal with it. The paying Chelsea fans that went to Stamford Bridge, started a good atmosphere and had to put up with that. And, you know, it's embarrassing for everyone involved. And they look like, if you excuse my French, dickheads. They do. Here's your project, mate. There's your project. There. Tonight at Stamford Bridge. So, if truly you need to win and you have designs and winning, you got to change something, man. Alright, guys. Sobering. Anyway, I do feel a little bit better for talking about it. I'm going to try and like watch something and chill out, and just, it's heartbreaking, really. I just feel sorry for everyone involved. Genuinely, man, I feel so sorry for the Chelsea fans. Alright, peace.